God doesn't give you more than you can handle. That is a phrase I have heard more than a few times in my life. And let me just say, I hate it. I hate it because I don't think it's true. First of all, I don't think God gives us everything we experience in our lives. Second of all, I think we often have more than we can handle. That is how therapists stay in business. When I was a teenager, I asked my mom why God lets bad things happen in the world. And her response was, she thinks God created the world and then put it into motion and simply let things play out. Sometimes he intervenes and sometimes he answers our prayers, but for the most part, we just move forward on our own. I really like this thinking because otherwise I'd be asking myself over and over and over again, God, why are you punishing me? I would have asked it when I was in college, suffering from depression and was suicidal. I would have asked it when I was trying to get pregnant with my second child, which took 14 months, a blighted ovum, and a miscarriage. I would have asked it when I was diagnosed with shingles that went from my eye up into the top of my head. The pain was beyond excruciating. Every few moments, a lightning bolt of shock would start in my eyeball and go up to the top of my head. It is pain I would not wish on anyone, and trust me when I say I thought of everyone I could wish it upon. God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Let's dissect that phrase, starting with the first part. God doesn't give you. Life is hard, but I don't think God intended it that way. I don't think it was his intention for humankind that we toil away at jobs that we don't like, to buy homes and cars that are going to put us into debt. These are the lives we created for ourselves. I don't think God gave me all the pain that I've experienced. Rather, I think this was simply terrible, horrible, no good, very bad luck. Because my God, the Christian God, is a loving God. He doesn't want everyone to experience pain, suffering, heartbreak, and disease. The Methodist pastor Adam Hamilton writes about this in his book, Half-Truths. Those things are not part of God's perfect plan. They are not sent by God, but they are part of the human experience. I don't believe God gives them, but I trust that God walks us through them. In fact, God, in the person of Jesus, has already walked through our shared human experience with us. He knew what it was to suffer and to face rejection, betrayal, torture, and death. And his resurrection proclaims that evil, hate, pain, and death itself will not have the final word in our lives. Kate Bowler is a professor at Duke Divinity School who has written two wildly popular books about struggles in her life. In Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I've Loved, she writes that while she was working on her PhD dissertation, her arms simply quit working. Doctor after doctor after doctor told her there was nothing wrong with her, that it was all in her head. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. During the same time, she had been suffering from years of infertility before finally giving birth to a son. And then when that son was 2 years old, she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that had spread to her liver. She was given months to live. Spoiler alert and good news for all of us, she is still very much alive. Kate Bowler writes about this in No Cure for Being Human and Other Truths I Need to Hear. While I believe there may be rich meaning at every crossroad in our lives, each meeting and departure, car accident, or chance encounter, I do not believe that God will provide for every need or prevent every sorrow. She goes on to write, good or bad, I will not get what I deserve. Nothing will exempt me from the pain of being human. God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Let's look at the second part of that phrase. I am pretty sure all of us on at least one occasion have had more than we can handle. You know, that depression I suffered, infertility, shingles, Oh, I was struggling mightily at times. And especially during that bout with shingles, I couldn't help but wonder, why is this happening to me? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, why not me? Why shouldn't I suffer? What makes me so special that my life should be free from trials? I'm not. No offense, but you're not. Jesus Christ himself wasn't. But the good news is we hear over and over and over again in scriptures that God is going to be with us during these trials. Psalm 46, verse 1, God is our refuge and strength, a help always near in times of great trouble. These trials, these tribulations are simply a part of being part of humanity. I love what Kate Bowler writes in her book. She says it takes great courage to live, period. There are fears and disappointments and failures every day, and in the end, the hero dies. It must be cinematic to watch us from above. One important aspect of Christianity is that it must happen in community. In Matthew chapter 18, verse 20, Jesus says, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm there with them." I see how important Christianity and community are together each week in this very church, where I'm the executive director. And I find that no matter how much someone says they love our church, if they don't find community here, they do not stick around. But those people who find community through a small group or through volunteering or through serving on a Sunday morning, those people are happier. They find their community, those people with whom they are going to celebrate life's joys and grieve life's disappointments. I would love to say that when I was a senior in college suffering from that depression, that my community surrounded me with love and made me feel cared for. They did not. In hindsight, I can't blame them. We were 21 years old, and none of us had ever been through anything like that before. And because they didn't know what to do, they did nothing. And because I did not have the mental strength to reach out to them, my friends just trickled away one by one by one until there were none left. I think so often when those of us are having a friend or a family member who's struggling with something, we think, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to be a burden. I'll just let them reach out when they're ready. But really, we're just abandoning them. Kate Bowler writes about this abandonment in No Cure for Being Human. I try a small experiment and stop calling my regular rotation of friends and family, hoping they will call me back on their own. This is not a test. This is not a test. The phone goes quiet, except for a handful of calls. I feel a strange feeling of grief. Is it bitter or unkind to want everyone to remember what I can't forget? Who wants to be confronted with the reminder that we are all a breath away from a problem that could alter our lives completely? A friend with a very sick child said it best, I'm everyone's inspiration and no one's friend. I'm everyone's inspiration and no one's friend. So, I want to give a little advice to all of us. The next time someone in our life is going through something tough, don't abandon them. You can do something as simple as sending them a funny cat meme so that you can just distract them for 30 seconds. You can send them a quick text that says, hey, just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you. No need to respond. Or when you do talk to them, don't give them those great cliches we Christians are known for. This too shall pass. What you really need to say is, what you're going through sucks, and I hate it for you. But when you are ready to drown your sorrows in a stiff drink or a large bowl of ice cream, I am there for you. Just say the word and I will make it all happen. Man, that is it. That is all you have to do. You do those things and you will be the best friend they could ever ask for. The problem is there are a lot of people in this planet who are not going to hear this amazing talk and amazing advice I'm giving, and thus, so many of us, when we are going through struggles, we're going to have to go it alone. When my daughter was 9 years old, we took a trip to Zion National Park in Utah. We went on a hike there through what's known as the Narrows. It starts out on this really nicely paved trail, and it goes to a dirt and gravel trail, and then it goes into the river. Now, most smart people turn around at this point, but not us. We had prepared ourselves, and we had rented walking sticks and neoprene socks and special hiking boots, and we went right on into that river. It was cold and treacherous, but the water was past my daughter's waist at times, but the scenery was worth it, and she was doing great until she wasn't. And when she wasn't, it hit really hard and really fast. She shut down completely, and she was crying. And my husband and I looked back at each other and said, we have got to get back to dry land. The problem was dry land was not coming quickly. And as we're wading through the water, she kept getting farther and farther behind us. And I'm trying to do that good mom pep talk of, come on, honey, you've got this. I know you can do it. And it was not working. She was getting farther and farther behind us and would just stop walking. So I finally went to her, and I put my hands on either of her shoulders, and I got down at her eye level, and I said, honey, I love you, but I can't get you through this. Your dad can't get you through this. We cannot carry you. The only way you're going to get through this is to put one foot in front of the other and walk. I kissed her on the forehead. I turned around, and I hoped like heck that I had not just scarred her for life. But about 15 to 20 seconds goes by, and I look back, and she's walking, and she's getting a little closer. I let about another 30 seconds go by, and I look, and she is getting even closer, and she has a smile on her face. And I let about another minute go by, and I don't even have to look back because I hear her singing silly songs to herself and giggling. And I do look back at that point because I have to see what's going on, and she's just got the biggest grin on her face. In her 9-year-old moments of despair, she dug deep. And she pulled through. And I have no doubt that although she was taking the physical steps, God was walking along there beside her, giving her the confidence and encouragement she needed. And I know that because I had never seen her do something like that before. She'd always quit in the past. And this time she realized, oh, I can't quit. I've got to go. I was so happy that day because she learned she is resilient. And that is a lesson that took way too long for me to learn about myself. Sometimes resilience can feel like a bad word in Christian circles because I think sometimes people hear that and go, oh, well, you're just relying on yourself to get through and you're not allowing God to help you. But I don't think that's the case. I can argue that resilience comes from your faith, your support structures of family and friends. I know that for me, knowing I have a God who loves me, who cares about me, friends and family who are there to support me, that is what gets me through. That is what makes me resilient. So I would like to pass on a little advice to everyone today. For those moments when you go through something that you don't think you're going to get through, because you will. And there are two really easy things. First, ask what you are learning about yourself. Ask what you are learning about your relationships with other people. Ask about what you're learning with your relationship to your job. Is it one you love, or should you have left 6 months ago? Ask how you're spending free time. Is that serving you? Or should you be doing more in service to other people? Or maybe you should actually be resting because you've overscheduled yourself and your children so that you are always moving in 100 directions. Then, and this is the really important part, be ready for and waiting for the answer. Sometimes it will come quickly and it will be very literal. Other times, it may take a few months or years, and it may just be that you wake up one morning feeling a little bit better than you did the day before. Or things may line up in a way that just feels serendipitous. I know that being resilient all the time is really difficult. Sometimes I don't want to be strong in the face of hard things. I would much rather huddle on my couch under a blanket with my orange tabby cat George on my lap and my mouth full of chocolate cake, especially a lot of chocolate cake, but I can't do that. I have a husband and children and parents and pets and friends and a job and all the way down the line who all need me and rely on me. And in those moments when I'm not feeling very resilient, I can turn to an amazing blessing that Kate Bowler posted to her Instagram account just a couple of months ago called A Blessing for the Resilient. Blessed are you who are tired of feeling grateful all the time, who feel more comfortable with moments of rage and negativity and venting all that you lost. Blessed are you when you say, hand on your heart, there are truths you wish you could unlearn, riches you wish you could get back, the innocence, hope, the sweet fearlessness of never having lost. You are resilient, but I wish you never had to be. Your survival cost you, and it is okay to name it, to be grateful and outraged. She goes on to write, the almost truths are difficult to swallow. Yes, we learned so much. Yes, we overcame, we grew. But this perspective, we would give it back in a heartbeat. Bless us, God, in our gratitude, in our anger, in our survival. And may you, my dear, be met today with gentleness and stillness and peace, energy, momentum, or rest, whatever it takes to carry the weight of all this resilience. You are going to get more than you can handle. And it is okay to wonder why. It's okay to ask God what he's trying to teach you, but know that you are going to get through. Just like that cliche says, this too shall pass. It may pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass. Thank you.